Morning to you. Thank you so much for being with us here on UBC TV. It is Good Morning Uganda Extra, an extension of Good Morning Uganda. But I can't forget to remind you that every weekday we are here from the hour of 6:30 with very interesting topics, very interesting people that spice up your mornings with a mixture of fun and relevant information that you need to go along with the day, that you need to know. That is both locally, internationally, weather, traffic updates, press review. It's a full packaged meal that you can't afford to miss for you to fit in any topic of discussion during the day. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, and I'm very humbled this morning because I'm going to be discussing a very important topic that is regarding our health. We all live, but what is important is we must be alive. And how do you do that? Knowing how certain diseases can attack your body, how to prevent them, that is number one, how to diagnose them to know that, yes, I have this disease, how to treat them. So it is prevention, it goes with diagnosis, then the right treatment. Knowing that I'm suffering from this disease, and it's a disease, it is curable, or I have to spend the rest of my life on treatment. As Africans, we have challenges that sometimes you don't know what you're suffering from, then it's discovered very late. Sometimes you're doubting it is a disease, you rush to pastors. I have no doubt in the power of miracles and healing. I can't say I'm a living testimony, but I must say, sometimes we saw people going to witchcraft, and this is where the problem comes from. So today we are going to be discussing cancer, the disease, not what we refer to as corruption, no, the disease cancer. We want to look at prevention, we want to look at testing or diagnosing it, and we want to look at the treatment. And in that spirit, there is an upcoming conference that is aimed at addressing those and more. But joining me on set, I have a lady and a gentleman that are very resourceful when it comes to issues of the fight against cancer. I have Mwesije Boaz, who happens to be working with Mulago Referral Hospital at my extreme hand. You're most welcome, Boaz.
Thank you, sir.
Then just next to me is Annette Nabagala, the National Health Laboratory and Diagnostic Services at the Ministry of Health. You're most welcome.
Thank you, sir.
It's an honor having you too. Now, I want to begin with Nabagala. Ladies first.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about cancer, help us understand what kind of disease is this? We all know it's now eating up. Cancer is so common than never before. But what really happens when we say he has a cancer or is suffering from cancer?
Sure. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Chirabo. Cancer is a non-communicable disease. And it is as a result, it's as a result of uncontrolled growth of cells in a particular given organ. Yes, that is, in brief, that is what cancer is.
Now, non-communicable, you know, I have my grandfather right in Kasoga Kakuto watching. So what are non-communicable diseases? Because we are part of your definition.
Okay. Non-communicable are those diseases which cannot be, cannot be transmitted from one person to another. Yes, and the cancer is one of the main non-communicable disease. And though for it, if somehow we might find a number of these cancers are non-communicable, the abnormal growth of cells comes spontaneously in a particular organ or cell. And that's why you're going to find if we get abnormal growth of cells in the eyes, someone is going to get eye cancer. If the abnormal growth of cells comes in the cervix, someone is going to get cervical cancer. If the abnormal growth of cells comes in the prostate, our men, you're going to get prostate cancer.
Now, this takes me to Boaz. How big is this problem in our country today that we are seeing a lot of campaigns coming up?
In our country, if we look at the problem, we need to look at a number of factors. Cancer in this country has been shared by Madame Annette. We are having a big problem globally, and in Uganda it's a big problem. If we are to look at that problem, we need to look at it in three ways. We need to look at the number of cases which are presenting with cancer, which we call the incidence. We need to look at the number of people who are presenting with cancer at a particular time, that is the prevalence. We also need to look at the number of people who are dying with the cancer, also known as the mortality. So if you look at the information from the Global Cancer Observatory of 2020, the number of cases, the new cases who presented with cancer were about 34,000, and the number of deaths in that same year were about 22,000. So just to make it simpler, if you have about 100 cases or 100 patients who are presenting with cancer at the Uganda Cancer Institute, we see that 80% of these cases, 80% of these people die if you follow them up in a 1-year period. That is the burden that we are seeing. The burden of cancer still is high. When you look at it in the economic perspective, it is very expensive to treat this disease. Majority of our Ugandans cannot afford the costs of treatment. The costs of diagnosis is also high. So that is the problem that we are facing in this country.
Well, I've been knocked flat when you talked about if you have 100 patients at the Uganda Cancer Institute, that means 80% of them die of cancer. Now, this brings me to a disturbing question. I've asked a number of experts, and I don't know, maybe yesterday or a few hours later, you were able to find a conclusive answer to what are the causes, or what are the risk factors that bring about this abnormal growth of cells in a particular part of the body.
Okay. Thank you very much. The causes of cancer are a little bit varied. They are really varied, whereby a number of cancers are caused by environmental factors.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, poor nutrition, the exposure to those dangerous rays, and some of the cancers are genetic.
Okay.
Yes, like some people are like, once we track the genesis, like in a family line, there are some predisposing factors which can be within the body that once they are not controlled, they are not screened and tested in time, and you just live any normal life. That is the family. You find like people saying, whenever these people make these years, they die of this cancer. But some other cancers are caused by viral disease exposure. For example, HIV. HIV, once not well managed, it can end up into cancers because it compromises the immunity of the body. And once the immunity of the body is compromised, it can be able to bring about, to allow even those uncontrolled growth of the cells to result, people to get cancer. That's why in those areas, people were dying of the skin cancers. Yes, people who are not adhering well to the medicines of HIV. But nowadays, someone can even have the HIV once they take the medicines well. Those cancers don't come in. So we have another biggest virus, which is giving a lot of people hepatocellular carcinoma. That is the hepatitis B virus. If you have that virus in your body and you don't test it in time, you believe with it, and remember, cancer doesn't pain. In the early stages, you can be normal with your virus. And you relax that you have no problem. But once you are not managed in time on that virus to suppress it, it can cause your liver to get liver cancer. Right now at UCI, 80% of all the liver cancers are being attributed to hepatitis. So another biggest challenge, we have a virus called HPV. That is the one which causes cervical cancer and esophageal cancer. Nowadays, esophageal cancer is becoming too much. When initially it wasn't even known. But that human papilloma virus, once a woman contracts it, it affects the cervix of the woman to get cervical cancer over a period of time, once it is not tested in time to be treated. So this is why I think I cannot forget our prostate cancer also, which is also, we are having some abnormalities which result, and the hormonal system of the men gets compromised to get that PSA to become elevated to give you prostate cancer, which sometimes are like, now you men, you no longer eat well, you eat as, we are so exotic.
Chips, chicken,
we want
tin
chips,
food.
chicken, but yet in the past, we were very proud of ourselves. When you go to Nakasero now, it is the Chinese, Indians who are buying those vegetables.
Very true.
But that was one of the reasons why these cancers were limited in those past years. The factors, the way we are living, we have compromised them. So now prostate cancer has even come down right now to below 30 years.
Oh no.
But initially,
I thought about 40, that's when you begin testing, and then later. That
was the previous guideline. That's why right now the science is changed, like how we've been seeing in COVID, and the researchers are showing that now the years have dropped down to 35 and above. But even some men of even now below 30 are showing up with prostate cancer. So this is why it is very important to detect the causing factor early enough, so that immediate intervention is given in form of immediate management. That is what many people think it is treatment. I'm on treatment. The management is not only medicine. Even the behavior changes can be able to save your life.
Now, before I go to Boaz, are there cancers that are sexually transmitted or have anything to do with these intercourse? You talked about the human papilloma.
Yes.
That now is causing throat issues. There are some that say maybe because of modernity, the way some men are carrying out this intimacy relations, including licking certain parts and all that. Is there any connection when it comes to science, or these are just... Any of you can answer. But let me just put it to you before I go to Boaz. Yes. Do you think it has any connection?
Yes, this is very true. I think you can realize we are saying HPV has been causing a lot of cervical cancer. In women, the cancer of the cervix, which is the mouth of the uterus. But as we speak now, due to westernized lifestyles, many of us are watching pornography, oral sex becoming the order of the day. The virus is now crossing into the throat to increase the prevalence of esophageal cancer. So
from the mouth of the uterus, now it is going to very complicated issues.
So this is the reason why even the Cancer Test and Treat Initiative has come into play to stop covering up We know some of these things people don't want to hear them.
Very true.
But medically,
even me, I'm trying to find ways of not to be very straight to what we are referring to.
Yes, but medically, we want to say when you come at Uganda Cancer Institute, when you come in our laboratories across Uganda, we want to thank our Mulago Pathology Lab, Makelele, the pathology labs are doing a lot of work in that early detection. Though when many of the people are coming in late diagnosis,
yes,
many of the cases we are detecting in laboratories are being detected late in the advanced phases. And as a result, by the time a patient is referred to Uganda Cancer Institute, in brief, majority, the 80% who go there, are already advanced. So this is why let us work together as a community to embrace early detection. We can even detect by giving you this awareness you're hearing now. We want to thank UBC for the opportunity. We thank the National Medical Stores for this support we have got. If you get to know that in your family you had some people who've been dying of cancer, please don't sit. Come talk to a health worker so that we can guide you how we detect if you have those causative factors or predisposing factors within you. The health worker helps you to even change your lifestyle. If you've been doing the oral sex, you're going to change it. Instead of you coming with advanced esophageal cancer. Many people say, I'm having tonsillitis. Don't say they are not your tonsillitis. Go to the doctor and you'll be supported. You might be sitting on esophageal in its trivial stages. And yet once early detected, it can be treated. But once late detected, you are going to die. And those are the complaints you're seeing in the newspapers. Uganda Cancer Institute is not killing anyone. But if you come in the advanced stages, even our oncologists don't have much to do. They'll just give you palliative
care.
But for you to think they don't want to work on you.
Well, now this brings me to Boaz. There's always been an assumption that when someone is tested or diagnosed with cancer, it's a death sentence. And the youth today will tell you, I rather suffer from HIV/AIDS because I'll live as long as I am very good with my tabs. I'll be able to suppress, that is the infection. We've had people live 30, 40 years. Now, is cancer curable?
Yes, thank you for that question. To our viewers out there, cancer is not a death sentence. It is curable if detected earlier. If a patient may be at stage 1, stage 2, cancer is curable. And maybe at stage 3 or 4, that's where we have challenges. Because at that stage, the cancer has advanced. It has moved from one part of the body. It has invaded other organs. For example, if you have cervical cancer, then in advanced stages, it can invade the stomach and in other organs. So to our viewers out there, cancer is curable if you come at stage 1 and in stage 2.
Now, let me also ask, when you talk about stage 1, stage 2, an ordinary person, what is stage 1? What is stage 2, 4, then 3? How do I know that this is stage 1? Maybe if I'm treating someone. Because one thing I learned, I once had a nephew and she was suffering from cancer, but she was being treated in Germany. But they were able to tell us that this person now remains with this period of time. Of course, we prayed, we called upon the name of the Lord, we fasted, but science was strong, saying God didn't work. He strengthened death. But the truth is, the time they gave us, it was all about prepare yourselves, prepare your hearts.
That's palliative care.
she's going to die.
Yeah.
Now I was like, no, in Africa we don't say this person is going to die. You know, this is the fact. About a period of about 6 months, Esther Muzira will be no more. So the entire family prayed, but the Lord took Esther. And we still pray for her every year. We remember her so often. So what are these stages?
So if you look at stage 1, the cancer is localized in one place.
Stage 1 is in one place.
Yes. It is
So
on
if it
one
is like
place.
the arm, it's in the arm. If it's like that, you.
Yes, basically it's stage 1, the cancer it has not spread, it's just localized into a particular section, just a smaller section. Stage 2, because this staging is done in the lab, we look at the distance the cancer has moved. We measure it in form of millimeters. So there are some dimensions that we look at. If it is greater than 2 millimeters, if it is greater than these millimeters, can be called stage 1 or stage 2. Then if it has now invaded other organs, for example, if it moves from the cervix to another part of the organ, that's when it becomes what? Stage 3. Stage 4, it has now moved throughout the whole body. That is the stage 4. So we measure these stages in the lab, basing on the millimeters or basing on the distance the cancer has moved from one part to another part. Yes.
So there you have no hope of curing this. It's only palliative care.
Not really. There are now new techniques on board. We have what we call precision medicine. These days, right now, the treatment of cancer has advanced, whereby they have to look at your genetics, because right now we are doing molecular tests. They have to first look at the receptors. They look at which drug will target a particular receptor in your body, and that is the approach that we are now using in the treatment of these cancers. So if you look at the precision medicine, cancer can be curable. We have other modalities such as the stem cell. So in this stem cell, basically, they get your cells from the bone marrow, then they genetically engineer these cells, and then they reintroduce those cells in your body to fight the cancer, what we call immune therapy. So those are the advances which are being used in the treatment of cancer. Besides, there are also other modalities. We have surgery. If the cancer is just in one place, it can be removed surgically. So we have other modalities such as radiation, which is available at Uganda Cancer Institute. Those are the modalities which are available. Then if the cancer has moved throughout the body, that is, we can use what we call systemic treatment or what we call chemotherapy. So those are the modalities which are being used currently. But of course, we pray that we also have the precision kind of treatment.
And what is that?
Like I said earlier, in precision treatment, we need to target a particular receptor. Then we introduce a drug to target that particular cancer. Rather than using many medicines in treatment, we can just use a specific type of treatment for a specific cancer.
Well,
That's what
you
we
wanted
call
to supplement?
precision. Yes.
Supplement.
Okay, thank you very, very much. I think, members, you can realize that the moment we cross into the cancer stage, really, you can see that the treatment gets complicated. And this is why the Ministry of Health in Uganda has now changed the approach to enhance the prevention so that people don't cross into cancer. It is very true. We can leave the treatment for our colleagues who are few. The number is not yet too much for at least the treatment options may be able to be continued. But to the majority, the Ministry of Health is calling upon of us to enhance the prevention. In the prevention, we arrest the cancer in the laboratories in the pre-cancer stages, the pre-cancer. And that is where we have 100% cure for the pre-cancer. It's 100%. For example, the moment you are screened of cervical cancer and you are found that you are in the pre-cancer stage.
That is about to?
Yes, for example, I think in cancer we look at the CINs, and we usually give like in the pathogenesis, we are having right from the HPV infection, we are having about between 10, between a period up to 10 and above years before adversity cancer comes in. The cancer gives you, the virus or the predisposing factor gives you that allowance time before you advance.
10 years?
Yes, when you are in the first precancerous stages. That is the beauty which the Ministry of Health has been able to discover. We have all that time to give us a good quality time for diagnosis, for testing and screening, using even the low level and very cheap methods. And because the moment you get I get the virus today, when you check according to the pathogenesis of this virus, it gives us between 0 to 2 years when it is inside the body.
And nothing is, it's not showing anything. You're living a normal life.
You are very normal. You can't even when like for example, the VIA test is done, you don't see any virus inside. But when it is there. So in Uganda, we've just got the technology of screening with the HPV, the molecular, which he's talking about, whereby we can take a sample from you, like how we're picking your COVID sample, just to swab. Then the sample goes to the lab. Then we are able to know, do you have the virus which will cause you cervical cancer between 10 to above years from now. Now that is where the Ministry of Health has come in strongly to even put down the anxiety. The Ministry of Health is looking at, we want to detect early. We want to command all the laboratories across Uganda from the nearest next to you, like how we do HIV, so that we can be able to test and we know, do you have any factor predisposing you? And the moment we detect early, treatment becomes very possible and easy. That we don't even enter into the too much expensive modalities of taking you to Germany. Many of our people are being taken to Germany, are being taken to India because of the advanced stages. And yet, we've been silent on the pre-cancer stages. So this is why...
It's the most vital here.
Actually, it is the most vital.
And the most reliable.
And this is the reason why we have come here. The Ministry of Health has led this, is leading the initiative, the Cancer Test and Treat Initiative.
Then does that only apply to cervical or prostate? Or that process can detect any other kind of cancer where you're predisposed?
Yes, the process can detect every cancer where you are predisposed.
Good.
It is very possible, and right now that is why we are coming up with this new innovation and initiative, which the Ministry of Health is leading, with all its stakeholders, so that we can be able to prevent the cancers, we'll be able to screen and detect the people who are predisposed, and we align them into appropriate care in time, so that some people even, for example, if you have an hepatitis B virus, you want to verge, that is the beginning, to cross into the hepatocellular carcinoma. Can you imagine? And yet, once we pick you out, we were initiated on treatment, you are monitored annually, you will never get hepatocellular carcinoma.
Well, very good news here, fellow Ugandans, when we see what our government, what our Ministry of Health is moving into. If you're predisposed. Now, the question, before I go for a very short break, now let's also understand how available, how accessible, how affordable are these tests? Because, for example, for us, the men, they will tell you, go for prostate cancer testing. For the women, cervical cancer. For the young girls, there was a time there was a campaign on immunization. Yes. The young girls, and I think it was below 13 of below 13. If you've crossed over, I don't know what reasons. If you're above 13, you don't get that vaccination. So all these, let's look into them. Then we shall go for a short break.
Wow.
Yes.
Actually, this is exactly why we are here. All these interventions have been around, but they have been so much limited in uptake. The uptake has not been good at all. Whereby, and this is what has thrown us into a dilemma, of which once we don't come together to embrace, like how we have been able to fight the epidemics. We were very happy to celebrate that we are Ebola free by now in Uganda. But it was a joint effort.
Very true.
We are happy to declare that by now we are, even COVID, the government, Uganda, we've been able to manage. But more so from us. The individuals have been. So we are also calling upon the entire public, let's work together to prevent cancer. It is very preventable and also curable, 100%, once detected in the pre-cancer stages.
Okay.
But if we
affordability, accessibility.
Yes. Now, affordability. The test is very, very affordable. The cancer tests are very simple. For example, if I say prostate cancer, you just palpating your breast. Every day when you wake up, we are always in the mirrors. But many of us only stop on the face. You will stop on the face and come to TV or go to office. But when you've not touched your, so it is a high time we become vigilant. If we were, and we follow the standards, the affordability, the screening tests are very cheap and fully available. When we say, for example, this week, we are beginning our medical camp in Kakumiro tomorrow. Actually, we are traveling there today evening, and we are going to screen for breast cancer, because they are very trivial, and they are very easy for everyone to know. If I screen you for hepatitis B, I'm already on the road to prevent you from getting liver cancer. But many people think hepatitis B is just to be vaccinated. No. The Ministry of Health is giving an intervention for you to prevent liver cancer, which will come to you 15 years from now. If we come and we say we are testing you for cervical cancer, we want to see the pre-cancer stages, and we prevent you from getting cervical cancer 10 years from now. If we say we are coming to screen you for even HIV, we are preventing you from getting cancer.
Now you've talked over.
Because if you have HIV now, and we give you medicine, we are beating down any cancer which would rise up in you, and you will never get it. So these are simple languages. So cancer is just an advanced disease of many curable disease, manageable disease conditions.
I like the way you're simplifying it.
That is how simple it is. That's why it is 80% preventable.
Wow.
So we have the blood cancers, the leukemias. We want to say that the Ministry of Health, we already having the laboratory for screening for blood cancers, the leukemias. And we already have it in the Department of National Health Laboratory and Diagnostic Services. But many people, when they get leukemia, they begin thinking it's witchcraft. The blood is coming out. People, they get transfused, blood goes away. They say demons are drinking their blood. So this is why...
They're removed from hospitals to go to native doctors.
Exactly. Even in some hospitals where we might find some gaps, like in case the health workers are not so qualified and so good, they will also think otherwise, because they'll be transfusing blood going. Now we are having many of those cases. And we want to thank, I think, the laboratory department together with Uganda Cancer Institute, because now we are working as a synergy. We want to test and treat across the whole country. And this is why in this initiative we are coming down to work as a team. We may begin drumming up.
Well, so much hope, so much good news in the area of preventing, detection and treatment of cancer. I must say we are making strides in that direction. Very impressive, and therefore if you're watching us, you just have to ensure you go for those tests. If you're predisposed, then you can start on that form of treatment that will guard you against now deteriorating into a situation where you're cancerous or you have cancer that may lead to death. Let me go for this short break. When I return, now we are going to be looking at the coming conference that is a cancer test and treatment initiative conference that will run from the 1st to 2nd of February. This background, now you know why this conference should take place, and you should be part or support the conference. We'll return shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Happiness comes to us in many places. It's in knowing the mosquito net keeps our children healthy. The wife having the support of her husband. It's in deciding together when to have a baby. And for some, focusing on what's important right now. So what's your happiness? Make the right health decisions to ensure happiness for you and your family.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Children are sometimes afraid of the dark. But what do you think this expression might mean?
What was all that shouting about earlier?
Kim and Craig broke up, but they still have to work together. Problems.
Wait, Kim and Craig were dating?
How can you be so in the dark with this one? They were always holding hands and making kissy faces.
Forget I asked. Ugh.
When you are in the dark, you are not informed about a situation. You don't have all the facts. Or maybe you don't want all the facts, like Jonathan in our example.
Ugh.
But you can also be kept in the dark on purpose by a friend, company, or government. And that's English in a Minute.
Get the most affordable 4G smartphone in Uganda from Airtel. Now heavily discounted from 250,000 shillings to 150,000 shillings only. Yes! 150,000 shillings only to keep you connected to your loved ones.
Dial *175*94# to activate free 1GB instantly and 100% double data on all weekly and monthly bundles for 3 months. Get one today while stock lasts from the nearest Airtel shop. With Airtel, the smartphone network. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that short break, and thank you for being with us here on UBC TV. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono, and with me I have officials that is from the Ministry of Health and Mulago National Referral Hospital, where I have Annette Nabagala, the National Health Laboratory and Diagnostic Service coordinator, that is Ministry of Health, and I have Mwesije Boaz, who happens to be from Mulago Referral Hospital, with whom we are discussing so much regarding cancer. Now, Boaz, let's move direct to what is going to happen on the 1st and 2nd of February this very year, just next month, which is not very far from today. And here we are going to be having, that is the Cancer Test and Treatment Initiative Conference, under a very interesting theme, which is uniting our voices and taking action to close the cancer gap. I love the theme. And the third theme goes ahead, embracing cancer awareness, early detection and diagnosis for quality cancer prevention and control. Now, Boaz, let's first take a look at the objectives of this coming conference.
So the Test and Treat Initiative Conference was developed, the concept was developed by the Ministry of Health together with other partners. So this conference came in, one, to address the issues in cancer, because the burden was big worldwide and also in Uganda. Then this conference, we are looking at strengthening two things. One, awareness, also early detection, and also treatment. So those are the things that we are focusing on. We want to strengthen awareness, we want to strengthen detection through screening and diagnosis. We also want to strengthen the treatment arm. So the test and treat concept is a new concept. Yes, there are other concepts like the test and treat on malaria, test and treat on HIV. So this is a new concept that we are bringing on board, that to inform our public and our stakeholders that the cancer can be tested early and also can be treated early. Now, the objectives of this conference: one, we want to strengthen primary and also secondary prevention. When you talk about primary prevention, I'm looking at things like vaccination, for example, HPV vaccination. We are seeing the uptake.
That's
much
for the
as
young girls.
For the young girls, that
13,
is
below 13 years.
That is 9 to 12. So the vaccines, much as they are available, but the uptake is what? Is low. So the vaccines are just dying in the stores. So we need to strengthen that arm of
Can you
primary
imagine you have the
prevention.
vaccines?
Yes, they are there, but the uptake.
HBV.
Yes, the uptake is not good.
We're not taking them.
Yes. So we want to strengthen that arm of primary prevention. Then we also want to encourage screening, that is early detection. When you talk about screening, for example, there are cancers which are preventable. We have cervical cancer, which is the leading, you can imagine. In Uganda, we have cervical cancer as the leading, but in the Western countries, they already eliminated the cervical cancer.
Oh.
Yes, they eliminated it. But now when it comes to Uganda, the story is different. We have cervical cancer, which is
one of the leading killers.
Yes. So with cervical cancer, the Ministry of Health has worked on the policies to address the cervical cancer. That's why you're seeing the uptake of cervical cancer screening has started to increase. There are so many efforts of screening women living with HIV by some partners. So we want to strengthen that arm. Then we're also looking at the clinician lab interface. You see, when a patient comes to a facility, they first face the clinician or the primary physician in this case. So you realize that there is that gap from the clinician to the lab, because after testing, the doctor says, maybe get the report, now see what you can do for yourself. So we want to strengthen that interface between the clinician and also the area where that testing is being done from. So we want to close that gap, because there is a big gap between the clinician and also the lab. So we want to close that gap. Then we also want to strengthen areas for research, because the easiest way to fight cancer is through research. That's why when you look at Cancer Institute, their theme, their vision is research. So in research, that's when you develop new innovative techniques, that's when you develop new drugs, that's when you develop new strategies. So we want to collaborate with other institutions to bring up that research arm and also to strengthen research in regards to cancer. Then we are also looking at having cancer testing integrated into other programs.
Oh.
So there are programs, for example, there is a HIV program. We want to see that if a person comes for HIV test, we also integrate the cancer test as well, so that you get a whole package. You've come for a diagnosis, this and this. We also integrating the cancer platform. But we have also seen it in other countries where they have insurance, like they have that good integration. They give you a clear package, and that is what the ministry wants to bring on board. Thank you.
Well, that is so much hope for Ugandans. Now, in the interest of time, let's go direct to the conference. Madam Nabagala,
Yes.
let's look at the conference is going to be on the 1st and 2nd, just of next month. But who is going to be part of this conference? How do I attend now that we know the objectives of the conference?
Okay. Thank you very much. The conference is for all stakeholders. This time, this is a unique conference. We've been having a lot of scientific conferences ongoing with only the elites who studied in quotes. But this time, this in the Cancer Test and Treat initiative is for every stakeholder, not only the doctors, not only the laboratory personnel, not only the Ministry of Health. This time, all stakeholders, we are coming together to unite our voices, and we take action from your point of view. You, for example, right now, Mr. Chirabo is now already taking action by bringing us on this UBC to speak to the whole Uganda, so that we can be able to close the cancer care gap. We want to close that care, treatment, so that we make it smaller by preventing cancer through our awareness, detection, and diagnosis. So in the conference, we are very happy that the Honorable Speaker of Parliament is going to be the guest of honor. We thank the parliamentary arm for all the support in the conference. I want to thank the Interreligious Council, the religious leaders. They are full on board. All of us have a big role to play. We want to thank the media houses. We want to thank the development partners, the implementing partners, the education institutions, the health institutions. We have a lot of civil society. Every stakeholder is welcome, because together all our efforts come.
Now we are welcome, but what are the requirements for us to be part? I can't afford to miss being part of this conference. So if I'm watching, if someone's watching outside there, where's the conference going to be? How do I be part of the conference? Is it by invitation? Do I pay a certain amount of fee? How do I support the conference? I may not be there, but like I said, I want to believe every family in Uganda, if you're very lucky, you've not lost someone due to cancer, but either right now you're treating someone from cancer or you've lost a loved one. So you may not attend in person, but you say this is a noble cause. Let me support these people. How do we get into this?
Okay. Given the challenges of finances, which we've been having in the cancer program, the finance committee of the organizing committee decided at least an individual contribution to support the conference can be in form of sponsoring the conference, like to buy you that plate of food, For the working class, I think 180,000. That is the subsidized fee which was put for the 2 days in Hotel Africana. And for the students, it was even lower than more to 130. And we are calling on stakeholders, please support the students, support the health workers to come and attend the conference. So we are also still calling for more, like we have some institutions who are going even to sponsor about 10 people to come, and we already putting out the invites. Because we wanted as much every person to be present, but when you look at the limitations, it became tricky. So we are so grateful, so we are still calling upon for support, because so that we can have a quality conference. So another thing, we are also calling upon for any kind of support. We want to thank, I think we want to thank PEPFAR, we want to thank Clinton Health Access Initiative, we thank NMS, we thank Nation Media, we thank UBC, and many other media. I think, was it Voodoo? So they have already opened.
Given you the space.
Media houses are opening their spaces to move this information. We didn't have the money to do all this. But we have all the health workers. Actually, as we talk, the next shows, we have many oncologists, many. Right now, they are lining up to come on the shows. So all the any kind of support is welcome. If you can support the printing, you can give and you print for the materials to move around. We need, so we still call for a lot of support so that we can have all this work moved out into the country. And by the way, Uganda, we are the Pearl of Africa.
Definitely.
We are the first ones to have such a conference.
Oh.
Many people are still waiting for money. For us, we couldn't wait for money when we have all the potential within us. So the doctors are volunteering to come here. Everyone, all of us, but we are so grateful and so humbled because the noble cause is here.
So how do they reach you? Do you have a website?
Yes.
How does someone say? Because I believe that everyone has a role to play.
Surely.
Wherever you are, because you want this message to go out there. We can't afford losing so many people to something that can be detected early, to something that can be prevented, to something where government of Uganda has embarked on ensuring that those that are predisposed, they are put on treatment. We can't afford, we are losing so many people as a result of cancer. I'm just imagining those I've lost if they were able to go for this testing. My darlings would be around today. So you, me, and everybody watching us, this is a noble cause that you have a role to play. Let's not say I can't, I don't have time. There's something every Ugandan watching us today that you can do in this fight. So how do they get to you?
Yes, we have a website available where you can access this information. We have also displayed posters at the Ministry of Health in various education institutions. We have given them all this information about the conference. You can reach us out. Even the Ministry of Health headquarters is aware of this conference, so you can reach out to the ministry to bring this support directly to the ministry, and then you support this conference. Just to add on,
as I have your concluding remark,
yes.
Please write why that alone.
Yes. So there are also other opportunities for people who want to exhibit.
Yes.
They can come and exhibit their products. If you are in manufacturing, you can come and exhibit your products. So to the researchers out there, we also have opportunities for you to display your research, your findings in cancer. You're also welcome. In conclusion, I just want to call upon the public to come and support this initiative, the Test and Treat initiative. Also to invite the stakeholders to come and support, come and be part of this initiative. Also to the public out there, I want to encourage you to embrace screening. Go for early detection, go for screening so that you can be free from this cancer.
Well, Annette, your concluding remark.
Okay. So I want to thank every stakeholder who has embraced the initiative. And I also want to inform the stakeholders that the conference is the first of its kind. We are piloting, and all the best lessons are going to be sold out to the entire world and Africa at large, to know that even though we're a third world country, our brains are big, we can do a lot. So all the support actually, which is going to be consolidated, is going to be channeled a lot to enhance the prevention. We want the screening tests to be availed. So innovators, scientists, manufacturers, we need you. Let us detect this cancer early. Give us the screening kits. To the budget holders, those who can finance the noble cause, give us the finances so that we can get in the country the testing materials, like how we did for COVID. We can do this cancer even from our homes. We test it there, you get treated in the pre-cancer stages. Don't wait to be sent to Uganda Cancer Institute.
Well, I want to thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time. I just call upon all Ugandans. The conference will be running from the 1st to the 2nd of next month, which is February. Please be part of it. There is no value of money that you can equate to life. You can't attach that to. Life is priceless. So think how you can contribute to this noble cause. But let's also embrace testing. I love the fact that when we test, if you're pre-exposed, there is treatment for you so that you don't go into the worst. Avoid a situation where you have to go to the Cancer Institute. Let's embrace testing. Let's embrace, it's very heartbreaking that we even have the vaccines expiring in our stores because we are not taking them for the girls that are below the age of 13. Have a lovely day. See you tomorrow. God willing, stay safe.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.